Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. Got a great show lined up. Got a unique interview with a very unique outdoorsman. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Take a look at our times right here. It's important that you know these today. And now we'll go ahead and come back to me. It's going to be a different show today, a long interview, like I said. So let's go ahead and roll this, Bob. Good morning, folks. You know, through life, you always meet all kind of interesting people, and all kinds of things happen in life. Sometimes good things and sometimes bad things. And I'm up here in Huntsville, Alabama, and up here at a funeral of a good friend I lost from childhood, and Larry Brandon lives up here, and he had a family and a wonderful church family and great friends and all. I've gotten to meet some of them on up here. We spent several days, and Ray Jones and his lovely wife Olivia have hosted us, and we've been able to stay with them, and I've gotten to know Ray Jones, and it's really, you know, you meet people through life and all, and just get fascinated. And I've been up here before, and I was able to get a book that he had written about the old farm here in Jones Valley this is in Huntsville, Alabama, northeast Alabama. And I was just fascinated with the book he wrote. So I feel like I know him already. We stayed at his house, and so I just wanted. I told Gail last night. I said we've got to do an interview with Ray. I want our folks on Panhandle Outdoors to meet this man and just talk about as a fellow outdoorsman, just a wonderful family and all. So good morning, Ray.
Good morning.
We're glad to have you, and I want to thank you for hosting us. And I know Larry Brandon and I were buddies growing up and all, but he married and moved up here, and y'all took care of him for many years.
I'm glad you sent him because he was a good man. We were mighty good friends all these years.
Sure. Yes. And back then we squirrel hunted and all back in the Apalachicola River and all that. But up here, I'm fascinated at the history of your place and all. So just tell the folks how you got started.
Well, my great-great-grandfather was the first white man in Madison County in 1804. He came here to farm and built his home eventually on Mountain Fork Creek. He came to the town of Huntsville to start with. There's a big spring here. Nobody was there, of course, but a bunch of Indians, and he cut some logs to build a cabin, went back to get his family in Tennessee, and on the way back down decided to live in a little town called Newmarket. John Hunt, for whom the town's name, came along and spent the night with him, and then he told him some logs were cut down at this big spring, and so John Hunt comes down and builds a cabin there. The town was called Twickenham for a while, and then finally Huntsville after John Hunt, who was the first one to live at the spring. His name was Kreiner, Isaac Kreiner. He came to farm, and somewhere in Madison County our family has farmed every year since 1804. We're still farming. I have a degree in agriculture, and that's what the family wanted me to do, was to come back and farm on this farm.
Well, that's great, because I know you were telling me, I read this in your book, that your dad went to the University of Alabama, but now you ended up going to Auburn. We have had a lot of Auburn and Alabama folks watching. So how did you end up going to Auburn?
Well, I grew up an Alabama fan as a young man, and 4 of his brothers played on the Alabama football team at one time. So they were very much steeped in the Alabama tradition. But they see you couldn't take agriculture at Alabama, so they wanted me to take agriculture, so that left Auburn. And of course, as far as I'm concerned, personally, it's the best decision, the best thing that ever happened to me was get to go to Auburn. And I went down and got my degree in agriculture and been farming ever since.
Well, that's great, and you know, and a farmer is an outdoorsman in itself, because you have done a lot of outdoor stuff too. But what's fascinating how y'all built this farm. You just started reading the book how y'all built the farm, and the house, the original house was built what year?
The original house we grew up in was built in 1823 by slave labor, with bricks made right there in the yard. It didn't have any cement in it, just lime and sand is all they had in those days. It wasn't very watertight for sure. But my father is the one that gets the credit for the farm. We came here in 1939 and began to redo the old house to get us in some kind of shape to live in. And then he was activated and was gone for 5 years fighting World War II. And he went to Alaska originally, and then they relieved him there, and he wrote the operations order for the landing at Normandy on D-Day. went ashore at D+4 and fought through St. Lo and across Belgium and on into the Netherlands and wound up close to Berlin before the war was over.
Wow, what a rich tradition.
Oh, it really was. He was quite a man. He died at 58, and of course kind of left me as a young man without a father.
How many years have you been married?
53. I outmarried myself. For sure. I was looking for a country girl like my mother and had some similar values to my mother, and I sure found one.
Well, that is great. So let's get to the outdoors now. I'm fascinated. We're going to show you a room, folks, in a few minutes. It's just going to blow your mind. I've never seen anything quite like it, because I know a lot of y'all like to hunt turkey and all, and I guess, Ray, is that one of your? I know you love all kinds. You used to shoot a lot of ducks and all. Because up here in Huntsville now, you're close to Wheeler Wildlife Refuge.
We are. We're close to Wheeler Wildlife Refuge, which at one time housed tremendous amount of ducks. There were 82,000 ducks there at one time, about 60,000 geese that wintered. That's no longer true today, but it was in those days. And when I was growing up, and we would easily go kill our limit and counted the geese and mallards every day. And it was really something. But then we started turkey hunting, mostly in South Alabama, and that's taken over now. If you, Tom Kelly is a great writer of wildlife stuff. I don't know whether you read any of Tom's stuff, but he rates them. He says from 1 to 10, a turkey hunter is about a 9.5. And he said a deer hunter is less than 1. He didn't think much of deer hunting. But anyhow, we've grown to love turkey hunting, and even though it was a couple hundred miles away in South Alabama to drive to, we did that. My friend and I did that for years, and we killed turkeys in Texas and Nebraska and California and Old Mexico and Kentucky and Tennessee and Florida and everywhere else, and it was really something that really became a passion for us, turkey hunting.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, let's go in this room, and you showed us this room last night. I could not believe it. So let's go in this room here and take a look at some of these turkeys. Okay. All right, folks, we've come down the hallway now, walking in this room that Ray has put together. This is just fascinating. We're looking at something you don't see this in anyone's place very often. Ray, now this is just one wall here, honey. Just go on around the other side over here. And look at this. Okay, I'm gonna bring Ray in here and let him tell us a little bit about this. All right, Ray, this is amazing. How many turkeys have you taken?
Well, I'm looking for number 334. And I don't know how that ranks, but we don't have a ranking system, but I don't know how that ranks, but that's a lot of turkeys. The ones you just filmed is about 2/3 of what I've killed.
Yeah. We
remodeled a room one time, took a lot of the rest of them down, and then I haven't hung them all lately.
Oh, so this is 2/3 of what you're taking.
That's right. we normally only now mount the ones that's got the best spurs on them. We just take the long spurs. The short spurred turkeys we don't even mount anymore. And put them up, but I guess it's a case of a misspent youth. I don't know.
Okay, what's fascinating about this? You turkey hunters know this. It's just hard to get a turkey, and then to have this many up here. What's your secret?
Well, no two turkeys are the same.
Yeah,
they're all different. So you just got to try to figure out what suits him. And I hunted one turkey one time for 12 straight days before I killed him, and I would learn a little bit every day. And I got mighty sleepy trying to kill that one turkey, but it was if you stay with him long enough, you can kind of figure him out after a while. But it's not. Yeah. It's the hardest thing I've ever tried to do was turkey hunt.
And that's the challenge is what makes it interesting.
I think that's maybe the reason I like it so well is the fact that it's hard to do.
Yeah. Well, what kind of turkey calls? What kind of turkey calls?
Well, we go in this other room. I'll show you.
Okay.
I'll show you what we got.
Let's do that. We came in another room. That other room didn't have room for all your stuff, and we come over and look at the calls. And tell us about your calls.
Well, there are all kinds of turkey calls. As anybody that hunts turkeys knows, you've got diaphragm calls that you use. You call your mouth calls, and you've got lynch boxes or hinged callers, and you've got a tube calls, wing bone calls, everything in the world that people are making now. And they're making a pig call now that's pretty good. The one I like is one we used to make. Is this one right here? It's two pieces of cedar. This is a striker box, and this is the one that makes the call. The secret to it is the fact that you've got to not touch this side of it, and it's got to be solid to connect the whole thing. Of course, it's hollow in the middle.
Okay.
And then what you do is put them together, and it takes a while to learn how to do it, but by striking them together, you can make any sound that the turkey makes. You do like this. That's a cluck. Makes a good cluck. And a whine. That's something she does. Sometimes she'll whine and cluck. And of course, the classic yelp. And you kind of get down to that a little bit, and you want to try to find out what the turkey wants to hear too. Another thing, when she's just laid or she's jumping a ditch or something, she'll cackle. You can do most everything with that box. You can't do that with all calls.
Yeah, so you can do everything you need. Folks, while you're seeing a master at his trade right there doing that. We came here cold on the morning, and he just picked it up and made it sound that realistic. So that's awesome.
But there are a bunch of calls that folks, and I carry 3 or 4 with me of different kinds. You got to find out what the turkey wants to hear. And then try to get him interested in you.
Well, tell us about this one. This is a full mount. This one right above your head right here, the full mount. And this is a beautiful turkey. So tell us about that one.
Well, this turkey weighed 25 pounds, and he had 2 beards. Can you see those beards up there? Can you focus in on those? And then the classic thing about the turkey is this right here.
Look at the spurs.
You might have to, I don't know where you can get this spur. Now, that's an 1 3/8 spur, which is really a long spur.
1 3/8.
That turkey was killed near Auburn, Alabama. We were down there. We had a place down there that we hunted for several years. Killed down there.
And then that's a beautiful color on this fan right here.
Yeah, you might can pick that up. This turkey was killed last year. It's got this iridescent color. I don't know whether the camera will show it or not, but it's really a pretty fan. This one killed in Marshall County last year. That's just the fan off the turkey.
Yeah, gorgeous.
We went to Old Mexico a few years ago, down to a place called Ucora, Mexico. It's about halfway down, and killed a Gould's turkey. And these are the Gould's turkeys here, as you can see on the wall. They have a white fringe on the fan of the turkey, and we killed these Gould turkeys down there. That's the only place that you have a Gould's turkey is in Old Mexico and a little bit in Arizona.
So how many different species of turkeys you say we have?
There's 6 species of turkeys that we know of in the world. There was the eastern, which we have in this part of the country. Down in Florida, you have the Osceola, and then you have the Rio Grande in Texas, and then you have the Merriam in Nebraska and California and some of those places, and then the Gould's turkey that we just talked about. And then the ocellated turkey is the one down in the Yucatan. I don't want to shoot him because you got to shoot him out of a tree. You don't call him. He doesn't gobble either. So.
Oh, he just sits in a tree. Huh? So
sits in a tree and whistles. They call him whistling.
So you don't care anything about taking him.
And the natives say he sings. So since I don't know how to sing, we don't go down there. But
all right. To kill him. Well, listen, you got a big Auburn pennant up there, but you got a nice. Tell us about this buck up here.
That's a 16-point buck killed in Jackson County, a farm up there that we have, and I was just lucky enough to kill him. He's not the biggest deer I ever killed, but he was a nice deer.
All right, folks, well, it's legendary how a turkey's eyesight, how strong it is and all that. I guess ray camouflaging is so important.
Well, it really is. You got to be still. They tell us that turkeys can see 10 times better than you can, and hear 25 times better than you can. So he's a real formidable foe. But you've got to be perfectly still, and you've got to hide yourself every way that you can. We use little ground stick blinds around us sometimes. Sometimes we use natural foliage. But the main thing you do, since the highest thing is your head, and you've got to keep it done. So a good cap, a good camouflage cap is certainly something that's very necessary. And then another thing we do is put this across our face here. I built these out of a pair of sunglasses.
That was smart.
We just knocked these out. My daughter sewed this net in there for us. And you just put them on like a pair of glasses and pull this over your head. And then
Look at that.
arrange it a little bit where you can see, and then put this cap on. And that pretty well puts you like the foliage would be.
That's a great outdoor tip to put around glass frames like that.
And another thing you can do, you can spray this with off, and it keeps the mosquitoes away from you.
Okay. All right. Ray, tell us about your bobcat mound up here.
All right, bobcat I was deer hunting one day, and this bobcat happened to walk along, which is not uncommon. We have a lot of them up in this country.
Yeah.
But he was particularly pretty because he had all these spots on him that it's kind of, a lot of times they're real blotchy, and you can't have more brown than they are anything else. But this one had some particular beautiful spots on him, so I shot him.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, had him man.
One segment I have to do now. Ray is an accomplished author, and this book right here is called The Farm in Jones Valley. And I was up here about 3 weeks ago, and I bought this book over here at Barnes & Noble, and I read it on the way home. Fascinating book about the history, and what a great storyteller Ray is. So Ray, tell us this book here, what inspired you to do this book?
Well, I started writing some stories down for the kids of things that only I know about, that when I'm gone they won't know. And it's a story of the farm. I came here in 1939 as a 4-year-old, and then it's a 70-year history of the farm, which includes my dad a lot in that, and a lot of other things that we've done. And it takes you all the way from being a tenant farm all the way up to being a cattle farm like it is today. And so that's what was kind of the inspiration for doing it. And if I'd known it was going to go over as well as it has, I'd have done a better job on it. Barnes & Noble tells me they've sold more copies of that book than any book in the store since it's been open. So
It's an amazing, well, it's stories you told in it. It's just real stories of real life.
I don't know about being an accomplished author, though. You said I was. Somebody asked me one time what it took to be an author, what qualifies you to be an author. I said, well, the only thing you do is take a piece of paper and a pencil and start writing. You don't have any designation. But anyhow, it's gone over better than I ever thought it would.
And there's so many short stories in there too, and about you growing up here, and I also like the part about the old later on these banded ducks and all, and you send the bands off, and a lot of these ducks came from Canada.
Yeah, they did. They sure did. We killed hundreds of those things.
Yeah. Okay. And now there's other book I haven't read it. I just got it this morning, and I think he's qualified to write this book too. Okay. Southern Turkey Hunting. Tell us about this book.
Well, this is just the stories. I started writing this also for the grandbabies. I guess the grandbabies are inspiration for a lot of things, but it tells a story of 10 or 12 stories of killing turkeys for them. That's my twins there. I don't know whether you can get them or not, but killed a turkey on the same day those boys did. And I tell the story about that. And the same, we took the boys all to Texas one year. I can find it. I can't find it, but where we all, they all killed a turkey the same day. All three of my grandsons killed a turkey that same day, and they also all killed a rattlesnake. So there they all are holding a rattlesnake. So anyhow, that had a good time. But we've enjoyed the outdoors with the boys. The other part of the title on that book is A Family Affair, and it is a family affair, I think.
Yeah, and you can say the whole outdoors is a great family.
It really is.
And that's what's so fascinating to meet fellow outdoorsmen throughout your life and all, and you all have that common bond. You know the love you have and a passion for outdoors.
And I hope it never leaves. It's a great part of American heritage.
It is.
I hope it never leaves our country.
I agree, Ray. Now, how would folks, if they want a copy, how could they get it?
Well, you can get this on Amazon, or you can get it our local Barnes & Nobles all carry it.
Okay.
But, this book, it doesn't have an ISBN number on it, so it's not available in stores.
Okay, so we'll have to work on this one. If I have to get you to come down to Panama City and bring something with you.
Good to come down.
Okay, we'll move on to our next segment. Okay, and Ray, we're back in the den out here, and I was fascinated with this big buck. Tell the folks about this big buck above your fireplace here.
Well, the buck was a 143 score on the Boone and Crockett, and he weighed 220 pounds. He was a nice deer, killed in Jackson County.
Okay.
And he was a nice deer. The back tines on it is the most impressive thing about it. It's 11.5 inches tall, back tine.
That is impressive.
He's only an 8-pointer. He would have gone more than that, but he's just an 8-point.
Well, listen. This interview wouldn't be complete if we didn't introduce the other half of this unit here, because I know Gail's behind the camera now doing all my work, and I know you've had an awesome wife through these years supporting you and all. So we're gonna, Libby, come on in. Come on over here. We got to get you in the camera now. Just introduce your wife.
This is Libby. We've been married 53 years, as I said earlier, and telling everybody. And of course, she was a school teacher when I met her. And we raised our family here, and all of our family hunts, all of the kids and the girls too. And so Libby's not a hunter, and she doesn't clean fish, and she doesn't clean the wild game either, but she does cook it.
Well, Libby, how does it feel to be an outdoorsman's wife and all? Over the years, have you enjoyed that?
Well, I have really enjoyed it, and especially with all the children involved in it.
Yeah.
But my advice is don't ever clean the first one, and don't of anything they catch. So, but I do cook it, and they all enjoy it. We have wild turkey for Christmas every year.
Oh, that's
for my family, and it's a special thing.
And your children and grandchildren are in the outdoors too.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
They love it, and we're just an outdoors family, and I go along with the crowd.
Oh, that is wonderful. Well, Gail, I want to thank you all for your hospitality during this difficult time and all. And it's just wonderful to meet you folks, and I know our viewers on Panhandle Outdoors are just going to enjoy this very much.
We appreciate what you're doing, and I hope that more people in the country, and particularly young people, get involved in the outdoors and things that the good Lord's provided for us.
Thank you, Ray.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.